This episode of Walt Disney World Today is sponsored by MEI and Mousefan Travel. MEI and Mousefan Travel is an authorized Disney vacation planner, specializing in cruises and packages to Disney and other vacation destinations around the world. They provide signature service with no agency fees. Get a no-obligation quote at www.mousefantravel.com. This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Wednesday, May 30th, 2007, and this is episode 263 of Walt Disney World Today. I'm your host, Matt Hodgeberg of MGMstudios.org. On the show today is Mike Scope of MousePlanet.com. Welcome, Mike.
You're all coming with me, courtesy of an amazing new invention, the very first one-of-a-kind special limited edition Time Machine Supersport Turbo XL.
Timekeeper?
Timekeeper.
Is it?
Yes.
Wow. That's your Robin Williams impression?
Wait a minute.
No trip to the English countryside would be complete without a visit from a man named Trevor. Hello, Trevor.
I do that all the time.
I love that line.
What a great line. Also on the show today is a man who knows many, many British people. It's Len Testa of TouringPlans.com. Welcome, Len.
How's it going, Matt?
Len, isn't North Carolina also known as Little England?
It is actually. We're known for our, flying the Union Jack, proudly.
Driving on the other side of the road.
Driving on the wrong side of the road, even
Mini
when not
Coopers
drunk.
all over the place.
Mini Coopers, and of course, 4 o'clock is always tea time. So.
Well, we know you drive the rolls around, so you know.
This is the Bentleys. All I'm saying is, once you start driving on the left side of the road, you really get the hang of it. I mean, you really get a taste for it. It's tough to go back.
I mean, it's easier when you drift off the road in the middle of falling asleep at the wheel. I mean, it just makes more sense. You tend to go to the left anyway. Also on the show is Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Welcome, Mike.
I'm still here in the Bronx. I'm waiting for Mr. Softy to come by.
Mr. Softy? Ooh, Ice Cream Man!
Oh, you mean ice cream.
Well, it's Wednesday. We're answering your listener questions, and the first one is from Phil DeLucia of White Plains, New York.
Phil!
Baby.
Phil!
Filthy Phil, we call him.
Dear Matt, Mikes, and Len, I reviewed the show notes regarding Pop Century to see what room I should request for my upcoming October 2007 trip. I've reserved a standard room, and I'm looking for any suggestions on what section to request. Mike Scope has suggested the 70s building, but in episode 194, Mike says the preferred rooms are in the 50s, 60s, and 70s buildings. Can I get a standard room in one of these sections?
Yes, you can. But you have to be very specific. When you make your request, go through your travel agent, or if you are dealing with them directly, tell them that you would like to stay in the 60s or the 50s or the 70s, 50s or 60s, but you would like to stay in the non-preferred section. There are non-preferred rooms within the 60s and 50s, but there are not that many of them, and they face away from the hippy-dippy pool, so you have to be very specific. So I believe you can get them.
Great. Next email is from Libby, who writes, Hi, everyone. My name is Libby, and I'm emailing from Des Moines, Iowa. I love the podcast and stumbled upon it last week, and I spent the last 3 days trying to listen to all of the archive shows.
Wow.
In February 2007, my husband and I celebrated our honeymoon at Scopa Towers. We booked our vacation through Small World Vacations.
Yay.
And had requested a king-size bed that they told me they couldn't guarantee it. They were not joking. Imagine our disappointment when we opened the room and saw 2 full-size beds. Needless to say, we got lots of sleep during the trip since we slept in separate beds. Yes, we felt like the Cleavers. We named our towel animals Beaver and Wally. We decided to book again for September for free dining. No need to comment here, boys. I know how you all feel about it. Since Scopa Towers were all booked, we settled for All-Star Sports. I booked this trip myself since I felt like I could handle it. What is the best way to try and get a room with a king-size bed? Thanks for the help.
So there's a couple of things. One is obviously make the room request when you're booking the room, but also I think we've talked about this on previous shows, but the central reservation office will hand your reservation off to the actual resort itself approximately 5 days before you check in. So 6 days out, Pop Century does not know that you're coming. It's only on the 5th day when Central Reservations transfers your reservation to Pop Century that the front desk of Pop Century starts looking at those room requests to try and start fulfilling those requests. So it's always a good idea about 5 days out to call the resort directly and remind them that you have this particular request, and then they'll see what they can do. That's, I think, the best advice you can do.
There is no way to guarantee it. Let's be honest.
Try to figure out what what the need for a king size bed was.
You just want it's much. He's better to sleep in a king. I mean, obviously you want to sleep with.
Well, yeah, you're right.
Well, there's more room in the room for jogging and exercise.
Working out, bringing in the
Rather than have two beds,
plyometric exercise bands,
Pilates,
exactly. The yoga mats and everything, exactly.
All right, cool. Shower. And so it should be mentioned also that some of the rooms that have king size beds have stand up showers in them because generally they're for handicap.
Yeah, but those are good rooms. I mean, the bathroom lighting in the handicap rooms is phenomenal.
Yeah,
and they're really nice. They're really acceptable. The only thing is there's usually not a shower door, which is just a little odd.
That's true. Yeah,
but it's not bad. I mean, I've stayed in a room at the Contemporary that was handicap accessible. It was perfectly fine.
Oh my God, this next email! I can't believe I'm going to read it, but we read all of our email in a timely manner.
For Thanksgiving 2006.
No, it's worse than that. All right, it's from Jason from Chicago, who writes, "Dear Lennon cronies, I understand when Disneyland first opened, they opened their attractions into A through E ticket, E being the best, but they had to offer, and prices were priced according to the ticket level. I also know they obviously did away with the system, but I know people still refer unofficially to modern rides using the E-ticket moniker. My question is, what signifies each level nowadays? Would any new ride be considered anything less than E-ticket? I know Everest would be an E-ticket, but would Monsters, Inc. Laugh Floor be considered maybe a C-ticket?
Right.
P.S. I'd like to declare myself the founding member of the Testophiles, the unofficial Len Testa fan club. I toyed with calling it the Lennonites, but I will be leaving it up to but I will be leaving it up to His Holiness, the big LT, to decide.
LT.
To Testa.
The Lennonites. It's John. Vladimir and Lenin, the Lennonites, exactly. Could be John Lennon, Vladimir Lenin, or Len Testa. Awesome. Lennonites.
I just love the line, "Praise be to Testa." That's the new. The subtitle of the unofficial guide.
Praise be. I've got a reference to Lou Mangello in the new guide though. It should rock. That's funny. So it's true. I mean, Everest would definitely be an E attraction. I think Laugh Floor might be a C or a D, depending on it. But there are certainly many attractions that would be an A ticket. I think Magic Carpets of Aladdin, pretty much anything in Dino Land would be like an A or a B.
I think Len, what do you think about Toy Story Mania? I'm thinking that's gonna be more like a D attraction.
It depends on if they pull off the interactive feature, and I hear this is 3D as well, right?
Yeah, you're gonna be wearing 3D glasses. Yep.
Yeah, it depends on how cool it is. I mean, if it's like Spider-Man Shooting Gallery, I could definitely see how that's a D plus or an E. But yeah, it'll probably be a D, I would think. It's interesting. We've already got the touring plan for that sort of worked out for the 2008 edition of the book. We had to have people test that. Even though
ride an attraction that doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. So we actually had to get Fred to model, based on what the hourly capacity is going to be, and modeling.
Model that way, like as in statistics. I thought you meant like visualize. I'm like, what?
Yeah, we had to have Fred like spin you around and put 3D glasses on you.
And drag. Yeah, exactly.
On the catwalk.
It's too bad Fred's not coming, down to Disney when he should have during that particular weekend.
Funny.
Next email is from David, who's from the United Kingdom. He writes, "Well, I'm back in Blightly following our trip over the pond to Florida, and I thought I might pass on some tips for all my fellow British travelers, as I'm sure you may have some British fans." So he sent me about a dozen or so. I only have time to read a couple of them, but I'll read some of them. And perhaps if you are British or perhaps even overseas travelers, these may apply to you. One is if you're flying Virgin Atlantic, you can check in at Downtown Disney between 8 o'clock and 1 o'clock, 8 a.m., 1 o'clock p.m. every day if you are not in first class. It will cost an extra $5. However, this is a small price to pay, £2.64 to be exact. However, it means that you can go and enjoy the parks, etc., without worrying about your suitcases cooking in the back of your car. Use an airport rental place like Dollars. They give you a car at the airport, and we don't have to go to the off-site. And that's something that we've said a couple of times. And if you have a child requiring child seat, instead of paying the $10 a day to rent one, go to Walmart and buy one for about $30 to $40 and bin it. What does bin it mean? What is that British for? Throw it away? I guess throw it away.
Maybe.
After use, as it saves a lot of money. Speaking of that, the one tip that I don't think I mentioned on the podcast is if you bring a young child, you need a stroller rather than bring your own, because typically the ones you have at home are really good, generally better quality ones. But rather than waste the money on renting one in the park, a good solution would be to go and go to Walmart when you get down there, buy the cheapest stroller you can, one of those really trashy ones. Beat the crap out of it, and then throw it away when you leave.
Not a bad idea.
Trying to see if there's any ones that really apply. Because obviously, the rental car one that applies to almost anybody. That's about it. So we think I'll try to, if I remember, I'll try to post David's tips in on the site on WDW today. Next email is from Nick Kenwright of the United Kingdom. All right, we've got 2 listeners from the United Kingdom.
Woo-hoo.
Hi, everyone. Just downloaded the first podcast.
Doubled our viewership.
There we go. Email by email. Just downloaded the first podcast for ages, Extinct Attractions at the Magic Kingdom. I really love your podcast, particularly the banter between you, Len, Newell, and Scopa. I assume this email's sent to me because it wasn't mentioned in there. But I personally prefer listening to your attraction-based podcast. These I keep in my iPod and listen to. I love the park tours and the music guides, etc. My question: as a big fan of the music of Walt Disney World, I have a massive collection now of stuff, and I wanted to ask if you or Scopa or anyone knows who performs the greatest of all Walt Disney World music in Frontierland. Splash Mountain area music in particular sounds great, almost like it's an Earl Scruggs or Bill Monroe and Doc Watson vibe. Whoever the session musicians are, they did a great job, and I love the music and listening to it on my iPod. It puts me right back in Frontierland, which is probably one of my favorite places in Walt Disney World. I love the contrast in styles in Frontierland. Big Thunder has a barren, Wild West, hot and dry feel in the music, whereas Splash Mountain has a more of an organic sound, if you know what I mean. So my question is,
this is awesome.
Do you know of any choice? Do you know who performed the bluegrass music in Frontierland around Splash and Big Thunder? Perhaps some we've heard of.
Do you know Newell?
Not a fan. No, I'm not at my desk to get access all to my stuff.
I have virtually all of the background music for not only Frontierland, the ambient music, but I also have it for Big Thunder Mountain too. Let me see if I've got.
I'm thinking a lot of the songs, especially the ones I think Big Thunder, they're all famous songs.
So if you want to
get Big Rock Candy Mountain.
Yeah, so it's the theme from the Apple Dumpling Gang, Buffalo Girls, Cowboy Needs a Horse, Dry Gulch Cowboy, Old Betsy, Pecos Bill, Roman the Lawless West, Saloon Willie, and Tie-I-O. But those are all great pieces of music.
Yeah, if Newell has anything when he gets back, he'll post it in the show notes over there in a
comment
or something.
I don't see the artists on it. That's amazing. But I think if you type in any of the names and you do a Google on them, you might get some of that.
Google is your friend with anything when it comes to music.
Yeah. So like Disney and Frontierland background music. Newell, what's the website that you go to for Disney music?
I like the Disney Music Discussion Forum.
Yeah, they would definitely know.
Yeah. If it's not already listed there, you can post there and ask those guys. They would know.
Next email is from Ted Gorlowski of Massapequa, Long Island, New York. Writes, guys, you do a great job talking about Walt Disney World. Could you tell me where I can find more similar tips, opinions, trivia, and information about Disney cruises? Also, I recently stumbled across Disney Family... Well, let's answer that question first. I guess, I don't know if he's referring to information in general. A good one might be... obviously, Deb's website, AllEarsNet, has a plethora of information on the Disney Cruise Line. Do you guys know of anything else that might be useful?
I would definitely, reiterate what you said, Matt, because Deb's going to be doing a lot of cruise discussion on her blog, so that would be the first place.
One of our listeners, actually, it's not about Disney cruises, but one of our listeners who's emailed in a few times actually runs a podcast about Royal Caribbean cruises. If you're interested in that, it's called Crowncast.
Interesting.
And it's one of our listeners. I'm sorry, I don't remember the listener's name, but whoever you are, we just plugged your site. So it's crowncast.org. Check it out.
Cool. Funny.
Next email's from Gwen of Bradford, New Hampshire. Is that near you, Scopa?
No.
Very good. Evidently, your state is bigger than I thought.
New Hampshire, it's huge.
It's huge. It's like Alaska huge. My friends and I are staying in Old Key West in December. They're using their timeshare, which is not through Disney. Will they be able to do the dining plan? If so, how do they get it?
Ooh. I don't think so.
Isn't it? I know that for the dining plan, if you were like, say, if I was renting my points rather than to someone else, I, as the owner, need to book it for the person who's renting it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how it works if you're renting, because this person is renting it through a timeshare agency, which is getting there from Disney. What I would do, Gwen, my gut instinct, unless one of you has any better idea, is just to call Disney, call the DVC line. You have to call the DVC line, and tell them that you're pretend like you're actually renting it, or staying there straight up, and see what they
Straight up.
see what they say.
Call up.
On the rocks, yeah.
Gwen also writes, we're also going to Disney World the first week of December. I hope to meet some of you at MouseFest 2007. Thanks for the help.
Awesome. You rock.
You rock, man.
You rock.
Next email's from Billy in Connecticut, who writes, I understand that the Four Seasons is a very luxurious place, but why couldn't Disney come up with something else like the Four Seasons for themselves?
Money.
Money, and I think the fact that they don't have to know the luxury market as well as Four Seasons. I mean, the Four Seasons has to do that on a daily basis. And so I think it's in Disney's best interest to partner. I mean, Four Seasons is known for luxury. It brings a certain amount of stability to their luxury offerings. I think we've talked about this before. There really is no deluxe resort in Walt Disney World property.
That's right. They try real hard,
but it's not. I mean, the two aren't even remotely the same. So I think that rather than Disney having to keep up with what's the latest in the luxury market, they can let Four Seasons handle a lot of that and just brand it.
Yeah, I also think that they're going to study them too. I have a feeling that's
exactly what's going to happen too. So they'll go in and figure it out, and then they'll start adopting best practices. That happens all the time in the industry. It's a great point, Scope.
Thank you.
It's the Soviet method of reverse engineering.
That is right, comrade. That is right.
The Leninites, they practice that.
Exactly.
But
I mean, it's pretty common in the industry. You partner with someone who knows what they're doing, who's done it before. You learn what not to do, and what to do, and then you take it back. I wouldn't be surprised too if it starts improving the quality of the regular deluxe resort offerings. In fact, one of the things I know we'll be seeing, or I hear we'll be seeing anyway, is higher thread count sheets.
Do you think so, Len? Because you've got
it's going to happen this year. I've seen the documentation on it.
No, I know it's happening. What I mean is, do you think that the Four Seasons is going to have that kind of effect? Because look at say Swan and Dolphin. Do you think that those hotels which do some things a lot better than Disney? I mean, certainly some of their amenities are higher than Disney's. I mean, and so therefore, I mean, because there's such a difference between them in some regards, I don't see that. Why would Disney change here and not there? You know what I mean?
Well, I think here's what's going to happen. So I think the Swan and the Dolphin are going to stay relatively the same. I mean, they do good in terms of their restaurants aren't bad. Their bedding is good. Their lighting is good. Their amenities are good. I think where you're going to see changes are at things like the Grand Floridian, at the Polynesian, and the Contemporary. All the deluxe resorts. They're going to have to once the Four Seasons comes in and starts offering true concierge service, for example, or more amenities, better beds, better towels, redesigned bathrooms, top-notch amenities and services and stuff like that. That Disney, in order to charge a premium for their other resorts, is going to have to up their game in a lot of areas. Because remember, when they're partnering with Four Seasons, they're not getting all that revenue, right?
Right.
So the easiest way to earn more revenue on that is to take what you learn at Four Seasons, apply it to your own hotels, and where you get to keep all the money, right?
That's true. Well, it's the Ronald Reagan, the trickle down.
All right, whatever.
Yeah. Praise be to Testa.
Shut up.
Next email's from Jordan, who writes, I asked around Epcot about pass holder merchandise, and no one knew anything about it. I asked at Mouse Gear, and they sent me to one of the shops under Spaceship Earth. One of the only cast members that ever heard of this told me that they had phased out all of that they had. There were pins. Is this true, or should I ask somewhere else? It's referring to annual pass holder merchandise at Epcot.
Good question.
I know at the studios you can get it underneath the
I knew there were
sorcerer's
pins.
hat.
There definitely were pins.
Oh, there were pins. I have hats. I've got 2 different kinds of shirts. Sometimes you have to make sure you have to ask the right person. I know that in the shop that that's being referred to, it's underneath Spaceship Earth, and it's on the right as you're coming into the park. And what you want to do is you want to go into that shop and go to the counter on the left and ask someone on that counter. That's where they have a lot of that merchandise underneath the counter. That's the first place I would go to.
What else you could do? I'm sure you can get it on the website. You could probably get. There's got to be able to get. You've got to be able to get merchandise on the website. Don't you think?
I don't recall seeing any there, but all I know is that there were hats,
I know it's
two
at
kinds
the
of
studios,
shirts.
because I asked about it the last time I was down there, and it's under the hat, and they open up this secret drawer. It's like kind of like asking for like the secret password. It's like, oh, yeah.
You got to show them the
we
passport.
got
You got to
stuff.
show them your passport too, pass holder.
Okay, so hold on. So I'm reading All Ears Net, and there's actually a thing on the pass holder
So you don't know.
website. It says, "Get your very own exclusive open edition pass holder merchandise." It happens at. And this is a baseball hat and a polo shirt and an adult T-shirt and a pin.
Got
And also some kids' T-shirts. You have to ask a cast member for it. It's all tucked away. You have to be at Pin Central in Epcot, Town Square Exposition Hall in the Magic Kingdom, Island Mercantile in the Animal Kingdom, and the big hat in Disney MGM Studios, or the Art of Disney in Downtown Disney.
There you go.
And that's subject to change. So check there. And it's also not for Florida seasonal pass holders, from what I understand.
Great. Next email is from
expensive.
Gabriella, who writes, "Hi everyone, I'm leaving to Disney World this Sunday, so I thought it would be a little. I know it'll be a little late for to have my questions answered on the air, but I was wondering if you could just have your opinions anyway. You were great help with booking my resort, and I was thinking about maybe you could help with let's call this a more obscure plan. My friends and I are staying at the Caribbean Beach Resort and are taking Magical Express because we will not have a rental car. We're estimating that we'll get to the resort about 8 o'clock after the plane and the bus, but we really want to eat at Spoodles during the trip, and it is the only day that we can make it. We have priority seatings at 8:10. We want to know if it was at all possible to take Magical Express to the boardwalk rather than Caribbean Beach. We would check our luggage with Magical Express and hop on the boardwalk bus. Someone from our party would go straight ahead to Caribbean Beach and would bring in our bags and have them delivered. Do you know if it's possible to do this? And whom should I talk to at DME if I needed to?"
Well, the thing is, they'll put your bags on the right bus, right?
Yeah, the bus doesn't. Your bags aren't on the same bus as you when you're.
Yeah,
when
I
you
mean,
drop it off. It
generally
comes
not.
later.
So, and you don't touch the bags anyway. So all you have to do is just get in the line for boardwalk.
Well, no, because when you go to the counter, they're going to be like, okay, you're checking into Caribbean Beach. They'll put you on the Caribbean Beach.
No, what they're going to do is tell you to get into like line 6 for Caribbean Beach, but there are lines numbered 1 to 10, and they all have hotel names on them.
I know,
So-
but they give you these vouchers on that say on the little piece of paper it says Caribbean Beach.
So just explaining to the people that are at the gate. Say, look,
I would say I would do one step back, Len. I would say just when you call in, ask to be if you can do a drop off at explain the situation.
That's going to be way too confusing. I think if you just do it at the well, you can always try it, right? It doesn't hurt to try.
Yeah.
I think no one's going to understand what you're doing though, and you're going to actually have to explain it to someone when you get there.
Okay.
Because the computer system's not going to take anything other than this is the hotel that I'm staying at. This is the thing I'm going to print out. You actually will have to go there and request a change. I think that's just me. I could guess.
Okay. So give a call. Obviously, nothing. Never hurts to ask. And,
Yeah, really, it doesn't.
Go from there.
Try. What happens?
Next email is from Dave, who writes, "Hi guys, found your show back in February after Mouse Tune stopped. I've been listening ever since. I really enjoy everyone's personalities and the interaction between everyone. Hope to meet up with all of you at Magic Meets. Thanks again for the great show."
Yeah.
Len is like, yeah.
Yeah.
Better recognize.
Hey, I am doing a talk now at Magic Meets.
Are you?
Oh, cool.
It's we have a whole set of brand new touring plan strategies for the 08 edition, so I'm going to be going over that.
Len's gonna. Oh man, you should totally play up the whole commando touring thing, Len. Dress in like army fatigues and like
Exactly.
and doing the whole like general
I'll be
knowledge thing.
like
with
Patton.
command.
I'll have like the big flag in the background.
And so, all right, where do you guys think you are? Disney World, and go down the list.
It's
And
so funny. No one would do it, but that'd be
it'd be
class.
so funny if you did that. Oh my god.
That'd be great.
Next email is from Sean, who writes, "I just want to let you guys in on something. I'm sure you've talked about cool places to eat breakfast as of late, but I wanted to share this with you anyway. At MGM, there's some kind of neat place to eat if there are only 4 of you. I'm not sure the name of it, but it's attached to the Sci-Fi Cafe. It's a small coffee shop / souvenir shop as well.
Yes.
What's cool about it is that if it goes back pretty far when we ate, I believe it was on a Saturday and we were alone the entire time. There was one
the
small table in the back by the music CDs and the muffins. There's Disney music going on, and it's like you have the entire store to yourselves. I'm not
It's
sure
the
if we just lucked out. Or
It's the
if just-
villain place, right?
It's the writer's
It's about-
stop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the writer's stop.
Yep. Let me just. It basically goes on to say how cool it is. I thought maybe I would share that with you. Maybe you could use it in an upcoming podcast. I can always find out the name if you would like to have it. Well, it's the Writer's Stop, and it's a little coffee shop. It actually uses the same bathrooms as the Sci-Fi. If you're really interested in that.
In the bathrooms. But they do have muffins as well as coffee, right?
Yeah, they've got all
yeah.
sorts of pastries.
All kinds
you
of
can get like
pastries,
marshmallow squares and cookies.
Hollywood Squares.
Hollywood Squares. I don't think the coffee's fabulous. Do you?
It's the same coffee. It's always the same coffee. And I have not.
Sometimes it's not, but I think in that case it is.
Yeah, well, not impressed. I'm not a coffee person, but I can't really comment on it.
Hey, go ahead.
No.
I think the coffee is just okay, and there's rarely a line. They also have soft drinks and stuff. It's not bad though. The good thing is not a lot of people know about it, but it's almost like a miniature Starbucks in that you can sort of browse the books.
The books are really cool.
Yeah, some of them are books that you really can't find anywhere. I remember one of them was one of the unofficial guide co-authors, Pam Brandon. She'd actually worked for Disney and wrote a book called One Day at Disney, and it tracked all 4 parks throughout one day. So sort of like a follow the sun type of book from sunup to sundown. And they actually had copies of the book, and I came home and I thought, I should really order that. And I went and looked and then it was out of print. You can't buy it on Amazon or anything. It was only available in the Disney park. And on eBay, they're like $250 a pop for the books.
Jeez. Next email, actually last one, is going to be from Jim Kenny, who writes, "Hi guys, I'm a long-time listener and really love the show, and I've used your advice in the parks. A few days ago, I got a phone call out of the blue. My nephew found out that Disney MGM Studios has a Star Wars ride. I knew it had been there for 15 years, but he's 8. If it's new to him, it's the latest thing. So my question is this. If I take him to Star Wars weekends, which he doesn't know about, which of the 4 weekends will most likely be the least crowded?" I'm going to have to say weekend 1. What do you think, Len?
Weekend 1?
Yeah.
Dude, all that pent-up demand from the geeks.
But, I mean, there's going to be... but, I mean,
When is weekend 1, Matt?
I would think like
first
weekend
weekend
3.
of June.
Yeah, there are alternate events, right? Gay Days are also first weekend in June.
Yeah.
So Star Wars weekend or not, I think there's going to be extenuating circumstances there. So I'm thinking probably the third weekend actually, because it's not the last weekend, not the first. I'm just guessing.
But I mean, Star Wars weekends aside, when you go into
Okay,
as
it
you
might
go through
be.
June,
Okay, that might be in the second weekend.
I'm thinking the first weekend is going to be the least crowded. Because the second week, as you move through June, it gets more and more and more and more crowded because we're starting to really hit the summer season.
Uh huh.
That's my thinking. I mean, obviously, I'll defer to Len because praise be to Testa.
That's just really nice. Hey, a couple of quick things. I was searching through domain names that Disney's registered recently.
Yes.
A couple of ones that they've registered that I think might be interesting is Disney Vacation Club by Resale.com. What does that sound like to you?
Wow.
And then the other one was Disney DVC Cruise.com. That's interesting. I wonder what they're doing in the cruise space.
Newell is probably like, oh, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
Darn.
Yeah, anyway.
Darn.
Darn.
Chantel is thinking, what did I didn't do that,
Well, that's it for us today. If you want to read our show notes, send us your comments, or visit our website. Go to our website.
Storyplace.com. Hey, I didn't plug the book at all. This entire show.
Well, there.
Not quick enough, man.
Go to our website at www.wdwtoday.com. You can also email us at questions@wdwtoday.com.
Funny.
Or Len Testa, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell. I'm Matt Hodgberg. We'll see you on the next show.
This episode of Walt Disney World Today is sponsored by MEI and MouseFan Travel. MEI and MouseFan Travel is an authorized Disney vacation planner, specializing in cruises and packages to Disney and other vacation destinations around the world. They provide signature service with no agency fees. Get a no-obligation quote at www.mousefantravel.com.